Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was sunny when I came in.
Not now. Crazy thing, it's supposed to be snow, but get out of here. Supposed to change over. Saw that on the bridges.
Oh, there was an accident on
I said it was a little.
Crane Avenue Bridge. I was on my way to the top. And it was all detoured around.
Wyoming.
I don't think no one knew the assault. Because they didn't, yeah, no, I mean, Kent was bad.
We're live. Okay. I'd like to call the Ravenna City Council meeting for April 7th to order. First item on the agenda is a moment of meditation and silence. You'll join me with Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Greger, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Kelfi,
Here.
Ms. West,
Here.
Mr. Moskin,
Yes.
Ms. Wood,
Here.
Ms. Michael,
Here.
Mr. Maravich,
Here.
Mr. Harper.
Here.
Thank you. We do have some delegations from the public on our agenda tonight. We'll start off with Mackenzie Fedorsen. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, from Coleman Health Services.
Good evening. I first want to thank you for your time and allowing me to introduce myself to everyone. My name is Mackenzie Fedorsen, and I am the Downtown Outreach Coordinator and the Case Management Intake Specialist at Coleman Health Services. I've been with Coleman for about 2 years now, but I just started the Downtown Outreach Coordinator position just a few months ago. I had the privilege of training under Erin Lemon, who was the previous coordinator. She's still at Coleman, but she's just doing some pay stuff now. And then just a little bit about what I do for the city of Ravenna. Twice a week I go to the Shepherd's House homeless shelter and I outreach the guests there. I give them any sort of resources that they're in need of. I check in on them, ask them how their situation is, how they ended up at the shelter, everything like that. I also go to the Center of Hope as often as I can. Same thing if anyone is homeless or if they're in jeopardy of losing their housing. I kind of talk with them, give them any resources that they're in need of. Also refer them to Coleman if they are eligible for our services. And I also go just kind of hang around downtown Ravenna. If I see any familiar faces, I kind of go up to them, ask them how they're doing, if they need anything from me. And then if I just see anyone that that seems like they need help, I go up to them, introduce myself, and tell them who I am, what I do, and if they need any assistance from me. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to introduce myself since I'm a newer face. And do you guys have any questions for me?
I do. I have a question. Since I deal a lot with our homeless in our downtown and with my other job as well. So when you're in our downtown, do you come certain times in the day or is it just sporadic? Do you, how long in our downtown are you, like, down in our actual downtown?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, like 3 days a week, would you say? And also the times that you're down there. Do you change up your times
Yeah.
that you do?
So I guess first thing, my job is kind of half and half. So the times that I set aside for downtown outreach is when I do I go to the homeless shelter, Center of Hope, and downtown Ravenna. I try to switch it up, so I'll do kind of early mornings, late afternoons, middle of the day. I try to switch it up as much as I can. As far as longevity, I guess it just kind of depends how long I'm down there. Sometimes I'll just kind of walk around. Sometimes if it's cold outside, I'll kind of sit in my car and kind of scope out the area. But I'll stay down there for about like a half hour to an hour, see if I see anyone. If there's any action, and if not, I'll go back.
Okay.
Mackenzie, I think when Erin was in the job, sometimes she would attempt to collect numbers of homeless people and give a report on that. Are those reports up to date right now? And have we seen an increase in the number, or are the numbers remaining about the same?
Those are still going on. There's monthly reports, there's semi-annual report, and then an annual report. I'm still doing those. As far as numbers, I think there's a little bit of a decrease. I believe for the semi-annual report, the total amount was about in the 70s to 80s. I have seen in the past they were up to the 90s. But yeah, those are still current. Most of the people I do outreach are at the homeless shelter. Because a lot of the people at Center of Hope, they aren't really having any housing concerns, and that's what I mainly assist with. If they do have any other concerns or if they have any issues, I'll give them resources, but I mainly track those who are homeless or are about to lose housing.
How many of those that you have found that could be homeless are Coleman's clients?
A good bit. And usually if, I don't have an exact number, but if they aren't a client with Coleman, I definitely let them know about our services, how to get started. I let them know like requirements. They have to have either a mental health or a substance use diagnosis. Most of the time they would need Medicaid or Medicare. If they don't have either, I would help them get signed up for a board payer, so they would at least get case management services with Coleman.
Yeah, I
that's pretty
think,
much it.
so the one thing, a question that with some of the people that, you know, might be in a mental health crisis that are, you know, following under Coleman services that are homeless, are we following up with maybe their case manager or looking at maybe the keys, getting him into access to see what's going on with him? And at one point, I thought Coleman did have funding to help temporary, like whether it's a hotel room or something, to try to get them off the street if they're, you know, having some type of crisis. So that being identified has been really important to me, because if somebody is, you know, in a crisis mode and they're on our streets, you know, that's been bothersome. So,
Right, yeah.
yeah.
I maintain communication with all of our providers. They all know what I do and how I help out. I actually, for the people I see each month, I create a list of the names, and then I go through, make sure I have updates with them. If I don't know where they are, I'll see if they're a client with us. I'll talk to, if they, whatever providers they're active with, I'll talk with them, see if they have any updates, or I'll just give them a call. And then the second part of the question?
Funding.
Yeah, the funding.
funding, yes.
So do you have like so much funding that you know that you're aware of that if somebody is, you know, on the streets and, you know, could get into some type of temporary like hotel or, you know, in the meantime of getting them services, are you able to provide that? Or also with transportation, or do you have any of those availabilities with you that you're able to offer?
The only housing funding that Coleman has is for security deposit and first month's rent for an apartment. As far as transportation, if they need help getting to our assessment clinic, I will help out with getting them there. I also know the Shepherd's House have also been a lot of help getting them there, making sure they get there. I also know, I try to help them if they are eligible for like the reduced fare for PARTA. I'll help them apply for that and make sure they get that as well. But that's, as far as funding, that's all we have for housing.
Sorry, I don't mean to bombard you with so many questions. I know there's a lot you're coming into, and there's a lot that, you know, with the warmer months coming too, you
Right.
know, we might be seeing some new faces.
Exactly.
Mackenzie, you might not know about this, but I think a couple months ago, folks from Coleman came in to talk with us about a temporary shelters in town that they were working upon.
Coleman.
No,
Yeah.
it's Town Hall 2.
Yeah, that's,
Channel 2 and NDS.
Oh, sorry, not town, not you. I'll
But
wait.
I do know about
But it-
that.
You
Yeah,
do
it's
know
near-
about it, yeah.
near
So I
your
was going to say, there's a spot there coming up for some services to homeless people there, so.
Yeah, yeah, I have heard. I actually talked with Karen Kravitz at the MHRB. She said she didn't know a time frame of when they would open that up, but she did know it would be open to anyone, regardless of their backgrounds and criminal history. I do know they were taking precautions of having security there for that reason. I believe Stacy Brown is the one who is heading the project.
yes.
From NDS, she's doing it, but Tammy from,
Town Hall
too.
2.
Yeah. Tammy's heading it from there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mackenzie.
Any other questions? Mackenzie, we appreciate you coming here and introducing yourself. My only question to you, and it's not one you need to answer tonight, but as you do your job, if there's anything you see that the city could do to help you do what you do, please let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Thank
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is John White. Is John White here? Hi, John. Please give your name and address.
Hello, my name is John White. I live at 731 Cedar Avenue. I'm here to talk about the tree lawn parking issue that is going on in Ravenna. I've spoken with Mr. Muskin and Mr. Harper on separate occasions. I was issued a parking warning in 2024. At that time, I contacted Mr. Rose and Mr. Finney and had asked about, a resolve to my parking issue. I live in a 3-bedroom home that had a single car parking unit to begin with. I widened my driveway so that I could fit 2 cars in. I now have a 3rd car. I still don't have room. If I park there, I hang over the sidewalk. So I was told at that time by Mr. Finney to go ahead and park back in the tree lawn location. I was then issued another warning citation by Mr. Rose. I requested a meeting. Went up, had a meeting. At that time, Mr. Finney was not available. Mr. Rose was. I was told the only solution is to buy a parking pass the city offers in order to be able to use the front tree lawn. I don't feel that that's the appropriate action to take at $25 a parking pass for my front yard, front tree lawn. The city's using it as a money grab for parking, but they don't maintain it, they don't utilize it, they don't take care of it, but yet when you want to use it to not cause an issue with traffic or anything on your small road, they want a payment for it. Is there a solution that the city sees reasonable other than charging somebody to utilize a parking area? Or is it just gonna be a continuance of pay every year just to be able to park a vehicle there?
Well, I mean, we could have a discussion about waiving the fee, absolutely. But that would be a discussion we would have at one of our committee meetings. Maybe we'll put it in for next week, our committee meeting next Monday, and we'll put that as a topic of conversation and see how this body feels about waiving that fee going forward.
And also with that parking permit that you guys issue, it says that I can't have any recreational vehicles on my property to, take up a space. So if having the parking permit eliminates me from being able to have recreational vehicles, I can understand not parking the recreational vehicle on the road, but why should I be treated different than someone who has the availability to park a recreational vehicle at their house? My property is particularly interesting because I really don't have a way to get around to my backyard to put any recreational vehicles in the back. I have 2 large pin oaks that would block that, and just to simply have those removed is a $5,000 fee. That's not reasonable for most people to want to spend. And then it would also require me to move my driveway to the other side of my property, which would butt up against the neighbor's property, which would put me within violation of another ordinance that the city has. So I'm kind of stuck.
Well, a couple of things. One, is parking prohibited on your street? Parking on the street itself?
Well, when the first citation was issued, there were no parking signs at the end of my street. When that was brought to the attention, they were then removed, and I was told that they were put there wrongly to begin with years ago.
So is that not a potential solution to your problem, parking on the street instead of the tree lawn?
So, my street,
It's very narrow.
It's very
very
narrow.
narrow.
Very.
Well, I understand that, but
This
it's,
is an ambulance coming down my road, this would be me parked on my road.
Yeah.
If you
Well-
put these two cars side by side, you're gonna create an issue for police and fire to get through. Not to mention, parking on the street puts me directly behind two driveways across the street from me, causing potential accidents just from neighbors backing out of their street, or out of their driveway.
Yeah, I know with Octane Nights, residents have complained because cars end up parking on both sides of that road where it literally makes them trapped on the road, and they're fearful that too, a safety vehicle wouldn't be able to even get down that road. So yeah, I can understand your concern on that.
And also, I mean, we are the road that everyone utilizes for the funeral home. At no point in time does the city come down and issue tickets to anyone that's been parked up or down the road in the tree lawn for the 14 years that I've lived there. So to come down and target the residents that actually live on the street for parking issues, seems kind of unfair and unjust.
yeah. I mean, I'm trying to reach out, see if there's a solution to your problem. I mean, I don't know if parking is permitted, maybe it shouldn't be if it's a safety hazard, I don't know. I think Mr. Harper kind of got it right. We need to have a discussion about this. If you're willing to put it on your agenda, we can even invite Mr. White back if he wants to.
Do that.
But just so you know, I mean, right now, and as long as we've been a city, I imagine tree lawn parking has been prohibited everywhere in the city. It was in, I believe, 2013, because people like you have this problem with not having available parking on their property, that a solution was brought up, which is the fee and the others, all those components that you kind of mentioned. We've looked at it a number of times and seem to have this approach avoidance to it. We look at it and then don't do anything. Maybe we need to look at it again. Be interested to hear what the building department has to say about some possibilities. Maybe not having a fee, or maybe having a possible procedure for waiving a fee. That might be, if it's a hardship, that could be an alternative too, since you're already using that space or have in the past. So there's a bunch of ideas on the table. I think it's certainly worth looking at. I think next week at this time, we'll be having committee meetings. If you're available, we can put the street committee up front. So at 6 o'clock, we can look more deeply into your issue.
Okay.
And I'll make a comment pertaining to that, since I was out there, that if you would have two vehicles back to back, one would be hanging over the sidewalk because the driveway is very short, and there's a hydrant that's,
Right next to the driveway, yeah.
yes, that's what I was about to mention, and you have a vehicle parked there, and if the fire department would have to get a hose to that hydrant, a vehicle would be in the way, and that wouldn't be good.
Part of the problem, Mr. White, too, with, I was around when the tree lawn parking came out, and it was, it's a double-edged sword, because a lot of these homes are older homes, and back when they were built, there was only one car driving, so, and then, we ended up getting, a lot of those older homes were purchased as rentals, and some of them became multifamily, and we started having areas where, people were just parking everywhere. And so we were trying to eliminate, Ravenna from, having cars parked all over the yards and, looking undesirable, So, but then again, we have, homeowners that, were suffering that, may not have been able to afford to put in a driveway a bigger driveway or not enough room, so there's been what I like to call gray areas in a lot of these. And some of these, and when we were charging, it was so that, some of that money would go back into our, a lot of our fees that, we use to help offset other costs. But as a control as well, to be able to track and see, who has them and so forth. So those are kind of some of the reasons why, we did it. But this is kind of one of those gray areas too, where not all places might work. So I'm sorry that you've had to go through this struggle, and hopefully, like people like you, they come up and we don't know about what's going on until you bring it up to us.
So also, I live next to rentals, so I understand the parking issue with rentals. But I also hear from the renter, that is my neighbor, who, he only has a single car driveway. They're a multi-car home. But it's up to the landlord to widen the driveway. Landlord
Yeah,
refuses
because that's
to
a
widen the
business.
driveway.
That's a business, right?
And then you're still writing those people tickets. Well, they can't control whether or not their landlord will widen their driveway or give them more parking access, and then therefore the burden's on them. And I know my one neighbor is particularly not looking at any reasonable thing to put his own driveway in a rental property.
No, it would be
I'm
up
not
to the
gonna do it.
landlord, right? Yeah.
So-
So, anyways, thank you.
Mr. White, I have a question. I'm looking at the, online at the picture of your house. You did say that you widened your driveway.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I see that. Will your driveway accommodate 4 cars?
No,
No.
it will not accommodate 4 cars. It will not, if you put 2 cars back to back, I hang over the sidewalk.
How long is it from the garage out to the sidewalk?
I want to say it's about 30 feet.
Okay.
Maybe 35 feet potentially. A full-size truck is 21 feet for those of you that aren't aware. So depending on what vehicle you're parking in the driveway, a 21-foot truck, you definitely are not carrying any other car up behind that truck.
Okay, well, we'll readdress this a week from tonight. We appreciate you coming tonight.
Okay, and what time would that meeting be on?
6
Monday?
o'clock,
6 o'clock.
Let me just double check when our meetings are. Yeah, 4/14 at 6 o'clock, and we'll put the Streets and Sidewalk Committee up first.
All right, thank you.
I do see on our agenda Eve Francis. I don't see her present. So I guess I'll just ask, does anybody else here tonight wish to come up and address City Council? Oh, please come up, give your name and your address.
My name is Cynthia Miller. I live at 727 East Main Street. We also own a property at 309 East Main Street. And these are not prepared remarks. They're from my heart. Last month's city council meeting, we had Amy Young from the library come and give a glowing report on what the library does for the community. I was happy to hear it. They did a nice job. They even mentioned that our president of our city council, who would be playing in a band function with the library this coming summer. Very nice.
August 10th,
We'll
I think
remember
at
the
2
date.
o'clock.
Thank you. By an incredible coincidence, towards the end of the meeting, our law director walked in, who is also a trustee of, what a coincidence, the library, and announced to the public on the camera and to this council that my husband and I have a lawsuit against the city of Ravenna and the library. Incredible coincidence that should happen within an hour of each other. The glowing report, the announcement. I personally don't believe in coincidences, but what do I know? What I do know is, a year ago or more, the 5 voting members, 1, 2, 3, 4, there were 6 voting members here. Tyler, you were not part of the council, I don't believe, at that time, voted to hire an attorney to look into the problems on Locust Lane. That would have cost the city $5,000. It is my feeling that neither myself nor the city would be in this situation now, and the expenses being paid out of both of our pockets, even though the city and the library are indemnified and they're not paying for anything. I am, as a taxpayer, paying both sides of this lawsuit in a federal district court. I don't think we would have been here had that ordinance not been vetoed by the mayor, with the advice, I'm sure, of local officials. Now, these same local officials have gone to the Planning Commission and want to change the designation from C1, from R4 to C1. I don't believe in coincidences, I'm sorry. And this advice is coming from the same group of people. The petitioner, the library, the trustee of the library, and the mayor did not bother to show up to the Planning Commission meeting. And poor Mr. Finney had to be the petitioner as well as the chair of that meeting. I don't believe in coincidences. I would ask, I know there's going to be a public hearing, and I will be there, but I would ask that you table this indefinitely, at least until this federal lawsuit is resolved. Nothing's changed, that his property has been R4 for decades. There's no reason to change it now. Wait until this is finished. Thank you.
Just to clarify, any zoning change
Has to
has
go
to
through,
be-
eventually through council.
Yes, so
Yes, it went to
that-
the planning commission.
so we're-
Again, the people initiating this change did not have the courtesy to the planning commission members or the public to bother to show up at the meeting and explain why now. Like I said, they put it over on Mr. Finney, and he couldn't explain why now. There is no explanation for why now. It doesn't exist.
So just, the timing will be the planning commission will hold a hearing, and then you haven't, have
I
you
will-
decided on a recommendation?
Yes, absolutely. I will
Okay.
submit a tracking sheet for Monday night's meeting. Planning
Okay.
Commission made recommendation to council to
Change the zoning?
change the zoning, 3 different zones to
Right.
1.
Right,
Why now,
okay.
during the middle of a
Well,
federal lawsuit?
we'll have to ferret that out.
And again, no one,
Specifically, because there's a lawsuit, I'm not going to speak about that in a public meeting.
I'm speaking about it.
I'm not. My
That's
legal
your-
counsel,
Robert, that is
my
your-
legal counsel is sitting here.
Yes. And your legal counsel's not going to say anything either.
You're right.
I will say something, ma'am. You have every right to file a lawsuit. You did do that, all right? And that's all well and good. There's absolutely no problem with that. And nobody is in any way restricting that. As far as I'm concerned, I have stayed out of this, and I have not become involved in any of these proceedings from the very beginning. I've not
And
made
yet
any.
Robert mentioned at the meeting that it was you, the mayor, and Bob that discussed this privately and recommended this go to C1 from R4. That's what you said during the meeting. You can check the
I
transcript.
said what?
You, the
Were you
mayor,
there
I was there.
at the meeting with me?
Bob said he was at the meeting with you, the mayor, and you recommended that the R4 be changed to a C1.
I would
Did you
indicate to you,
not?
ma'am, that that was not the case as far as the recommendation, a recommendation from me. I believe I could have been there, and that might have been something that was brought up. I didn't object to it. I didn't indicate that there was any problem with it. But as far as presenting it and bringing it forward, that was not a part of my decision. All right?
So it's only the mayor then? And
Ma'am,
Bob?
I believe, I'm going to apologize to you. I don't believe that this is an appropriate discussion for the public body, all right?
I
As far
believe it
as-
is because the council is going to have the ultimate vote on this.
Well, that's fine, but as far as I'm concerned, the situation is one where apparently it was presented to the planning commission. And it's my understanding that the library, in fact, was the one petitioning.
But they weren't
that.
there to present their petition.
It doesn't matter. They signed the petition, as I understand it, all right?
The planning commission is not an elected body. It is not. It is appointed for
I
a reason.
apologize. I shouldn't have said anything at this point.
But
The petition came from the library, and that's all that I'm aware of, period.
the planning commission is doing its job, whether you agree with their
I
decision.
don't
that's-
agree with
that's-
rubber stamps, no.
that-
I agree with
but I mean-
elected officials.
But ultimately,
that
as far
answer
as
to
the
their
zoning,
neighbors.
zoning change goes, it will be this body. And I certainly don't object to you coming up and presenting this and giving us a heads up, because I'm not sure I was aware of all these details. I don't know if council was either.
Thank you, Mr.
But let's let this play out. Let's have the public hearing, subsequent to the public hearing, council will make
Yes,
a
and that's
decision.
fine. I said, these are remarks from my heart that I wanted to make sure that the council members were aware of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Just
thank
one
you.
other thing, ma'am. When I came in, I did indicate something to council as far as the lawsuit was concerned. It's my obligation to keep council apprised of things. Normally, we did that in the executive session, but I indicated when I first made the statement that you had filed a lawsuit against the city, you and your husband, and I said, I believe this is a matter of public record. So
And
it's
it had
not a
been
matter of going
transferred.
into an executive session.
Yes, sir,
And
I
I
do
can just
not wish
inform the
to-
council that
With
this matter has
respect,
now
I
been
don't wish to
transferred.
argue with you,
Ma'am,
but
let
you
me finish.
said it was transferred to federal court.
I
It
did say
had
that.
been transferred to federal court
did
2
say
months
that.
before.
That's keeping council apprised of where the case is, that's all. That's the simple reason I
The
said
same
it.
evening that Amy gave a glowing report.
I wasn't here then. I
I know
appreciate
you
you
weren't.
saying.
I know you weren't.
Okay,
That's what I got.
I think
Thank you.
we're good.
We're good.
Thank
I've
you.
got my point across. Thank you.
All right. Okay, we will move on with the agenda. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. And we do have some items in our consent agenda. One of them I would like to remove and put in the regular agenda. Oh, okay, you did? It's under first readings? Is it under first readings? Okay. I don't. Okay, can you tell me which, is it, in which order is it?
Number 3.
Okay, so it's after. No, I'm talking about the ordinance approving the change to the RLF fund, or loan. Yeah, so officially, I would like to take ordinance number 2025-41 out of the consent agenda, and we'll put it second under, so it'll be in order, under first reading of ordinances. Does anybody else wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Okay. Then can we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now the next item is the consent agenda. Please review, if you have not already, we have communications, minutes, and various ordinances we have discussed in committee and the committee of the whole. Unless there are any questions, I would ask, is there a motion to dispense with the requirements of the city charter and the revised code of Ohio with reference to reading on 3 different days and adopting emergency clauses and approving the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Let's get a roll call for that.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Okay, the consent agenda is approved. Next item on our agenda tonight is our invited city official, Mr. Lovejoy is here. He's from the street department, and he's going to give us a little update on what's going on in that department.
Oh, it's nice to finally put some faces to some names that I've never seen. Well, I've seen you around, but didn't know the name. A lot of you I have known and seen you around for a long time. Starting this week was really the kickoff to our busy start of the season with bags of brush, starting in wards 1 and 3. And going through October. Hopefully this weather continues to, well, not continue, but yesterday was decent, but we have a lot of sidewalk projects going on, some stormwater projects that we can handle as our department, smaller projects. We have those getting ready to take place, as well as some road repair. We did purchase some new equipment this year. We purchased a mill for our Bobcat machine, sweeper bucket to help square the holes up nice and get some good depth on them and move it along quickly. With that, we also we got our downtown pickup truck completed with toolboxes set on it, watering for the flowers, everything. It'll be set up nice where we will have 1 to 2 people taking care of the downtown area, sidewalks, picking up debris, large pieces of garbage, whatever, and anything that, you know, that looks like a nuisance. The roof project, half the roof is finally complete. They started on the other half of the roof last week. If the weather holds up, they should be done in a couple months with that. That'll be good to get that out of the way. Get that burden out of the way. Along with the, I forgot to mention, along with the mill and the sweeper, we purchased another unit that carries the asphalt. They call it an asphalt hot box. Before we had our older truck, we had that our previous assistant superintendent designed it out of they call it a live bottom, where it's got a chain and an auger that retrieves the material to the back. This one is just a box. That older unit, it's on its last leg, so we're gonna move on and try to do some, but that's gonna be all set up. And it's gonna be attached to one of our switch and go trucks, which all of our trucks will be able to, we can drop it on the ground, pick up another dump bed or whatever, and switch it around. So it's not like stationary just on that pickup. Our chippers are getting some age on them. Here in the near future, we will need to be purchasing on a couple of those. They are working properly due to our mechanic keeping up on them, but no major flaws. They're just getting some age. Along with that, we have appropriated money and funds for a new loader for this year. We do have 2 loaders. One is very bad. We actually keep that in a salt dome during the winter time. The other one has did all the work out at the transfer site, recycling all the materials out there. It's getting age on it as well. We just do not want to be without. So that's something that I'm gonna wait till probably middle of the summer to make that decision, to make sure nothing happens drastically that we may have to do something different. Other than that, our equipment is up to date. We are very blessed to have the equipment we have now. It's all mostly new, and it's gonna last us a while. And pickup trucks, snowplow trucks, we're really good on those. 2027, I have talked with Brian a couple years ago about this. Our Vector is gonna be needed to be updated. Working fine, but it's getting age. I know the last time we purchased, it was 10 or 12 years was the last purchase. So every 10 or 12 years they recycled them to keep it rolling.
Mr. Lovejoy, could you refresh our memory on what the Vector is?
The Vector is the sewer jet.
Okay.
It cleans and maintenances the storms and sanitary lines, as well as hydro-excavating certain holes, or like around our water boxes where we do not have to use a digging excavator.
And currently it is operating okay,
Yes,
but needs to be replaced?
It is fine, yes.
Yeah, and then I did have a question also. We purchased a new tractor to go with our camera for the storm sewers to look at that. Has then that been working way we thought it would and hoped it would?
Actually, no, I was gonna bring that up to you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We have decided, I have decided not to purchase that camera, only because the company that we bought the camera from brought to our attention that the company that made that camera was overseas and is being sold to another. You know how that stuff works, and he's afraid that was one thing. The parts for that camera may be obsolete here in a couple years. the camera we have right now is, how do they put it? It's getting outdated just like computers. So I made a decision not to spend $30,000 on a new unit, only because if it's not compatible with the new unit we buy, you know, we're wasting 30 grand. So, with that being said, I didn't know this. The camera that we was gonna purchase, he was in town doing local stop-ins. He brought us a camera, a demo camera. He said that we loan these to people at any time. So it's at our convenience. It's at our shop right now. He was just here a week and a half ago. So that comes with the price of when we purchase a new camera, that they loan us things at times when in need. So I talked to Bob about this a little bit, and I just felt that I would hate to waste $30,000 when they're gonna loan it to us to use it.
But did we purchase the tractor that the camera rides on?
We already have a camera. We
Right.
already have a tractor camera. This one was a larger unit.
Okay, that's
that
the
would
one.
Get into larger.
And so we
cars.
did not get that.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. And that's really all I have. You guys have some questions for me, I'm sure.
Yes, you mentioned the two chippers. Were you considering purchasing both of those at the exact same time? Or?
No, we don't need to do that at the same time. When our newest ones were purchased, they were, I believe, 2 years apart. When I first started, the year after I started, they purchased one new one, and 2 years later, they purchased the second one. The ones prior to that were very aged, from what I can remember.
I remember those, and they were.
Yeah.
Mr. Lovejoy, this past year, we had staffing that we were down a couple positions in the street department, and then we did some realigning of a position with the laborer, I think. Where are we on staffing? Are we up to full staffing across the department now at this time?
We are close. We're very close. We are down one service worker and still waiting on labor positions. Down one on service worker now because there's still maybe some shuffling going on within the departments with stuff going on. But we do have candidates on our radar to potentially hire.
And the two labor positions that we established just a couple months ago, are those in the process of being filled or not working on them yet?
One is filled.
Okay.
One is filled. I was waiting on one other one to kind of see once this weather breaks. We have a few that are good candidates. They did tell me that they would have to wait a little bit, so I'm giving them some time. That's another thing. Our new labor, he may be bailing on us too. So, so it's tough. Okay. But we're trying to do our best to get the best fit for the department and the city.
And another question, I know you have the street sweeper going out early in the mornings, well, not quite yet. But do you have laborers or someone with backpack blowers blowing things from the sidewalk into the street for the sweeper to pick up? That way there's debris not accumulating on the sidewalks.
Yes, when the weather allows us,
Yes.
we go it would be Friday morning. The blowers start at 2:30, the sweeper starts at 3:30 in the morning to get that done.
Well, in the summertime, you guys aren't operating on Fridays, though, correct?
Last year we didn't know.
Are you going to this year, or how is that going to work with the 10-hour shifts? Will you alternate Fridays and Mondays, or are you guys going to go back to, having your Fridays off and do the 10-hour shifts?
We have discussed that. We haven't come up with a conclusion with that yet. But we will adjust. If we don't do it on Friday, we will do it Thursday night.
Gotcha.
Thursday morning.
Whatever works, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, the loader, are you planning on getting that, well, putting in for that next year?
No, hopefully, well, like I said, sometimes I think the worst. I don't want something to happen where we need those funds for something. Even though we have a good loader and we have one that's fair. So we have two operable loaders, but like I said, at any time, one could be down and not worth putting the money into. So probably middle June, July, probably put in for that if nothing comes up.
Because I know those are a hefty price tag.
Yes, they're just over 200,000.
Yes, it doesn't surprise me anymore.
Yeah.
Would that be the bigger one or the smaller one?
The unit that we're getting, it will have extended reach, but it will be low enough where we can get through our underpass on Diamond Street. I don't know the exact number on the model or whatever.
So is that a backhoe?
No.
Okay,
That's the large.
front end loader.
Backhoe, we are good on backhoe.
Okay, good.
Excavators, we're good on.
Jason, you know that turnover for loaders, I know sometimes we're looking to get equipment and sometimes they're on back order. Do you know if those are hard to find or?
The dealer that we've been speaking with, we spoke with Case and Volvo. And Volvo, they basically, it said it was like 2 months.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, they were right out of Twinsburg, I believe, Rudd Equipment.
I just wanted to say thank you. It's nice for management to come and kind of give us an update, to see when we're voting on things, to get more information, and also to thank you and your department for all your hard work. I know you
Thank
guys are always out there working hard in the rain, the snow, whatever, whatever gets thrown at you guys, so we appreciate it.
No, we appreciate that. My guys are the guys that get out there and do that for us. And,
Yep.
I'm sure
you, guys.
this morning shocked you.
It did.
It shocked a lot of people.
did.
Yeah, yeah. Everywhere was icy, everywhere.
Yeah.
And everybody, keep an eye on your water bill. It'll tell you when they're coming around your ward to pick up stuff. Sometimes you leave those bags out there too long, they deteriorate.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we fight with that.
I know you do. But you do a great job. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
All right,
you.
thanks.
All right, thanks.
Okay, moving on. Next item on the agenda is a report from committees. Committee meetings, as we mentioned earlier, will start at 6 o'clock a week from tonight, April 14th. The first report is from Utilities, Mr. Moskin.
Yes, there'll be one item for sure next week.
Information Systems, Mr. Maravich.
Don't have anything right now, but I'm following up on one thing, so possibly, but I'll keep you posted.
Okay. Planning, Ms. West.
Yes, we will be having a meeting. I have at least one item.
Committee of the whole meeting will be Monday, April 21st at 6 o'clock. Public Health and Safety, Ms. Michael.
To be determined, since we have our new acting chief, Jake Smallfield here tonight, I'm going to check with him and see if he has anything that he's found that he wants to add. And usually our fire chief usually has something, so I'm anticipating yes, but
Have a meeting.
I usually get a call Friday or Monday, joking.
Absolutely
But
correct.
anyways, I'll be looking forward to seeing what maybe ideas Jake has.
Okay, sounds good, thank you. Streets and Sidewalks, Mr. Harper.
We will be having a committee meeting.
I guess so. Personnel,
No committee meeting next week.
Community and Economic Development, Ms. Wood.
One item tonight and to be determined.
Do we have a report from the cemetery, Mr. Moscom and/or Ms. West?
A little bit. There's a hit and miss places at the cemetery where they're actually having to start to cut the grass a little bit since it's growing sporadic places. So they're keeping up on that very well. And there's, won't know defined till next month, but we're getting some good comments from an architect about the chapel. So that's, at least that's looking a lot more positive, since he's really looking at that, and my term dissecting things about that.
Ms. West, do you have anything to add?
No, there really wasn't that much pressing that we discussed this.
Well, you're right, there wasn't that much.
It was lovely.
Yeah, the good thing is, it went smooth.
Great. Okay, the last report is from Parks and Recs. Mr. Maravich?
Certainly. The roof of the Tower Lodge building and Memorial Shelter were replaced due to hail damage that occurred in August of '24, so those roofs are in good shape now. If you haven't had a chance to check them out, they look nice. The Marlene Watt Pot of Gold Scholarship Poker Run raised about $7,000. We're still waiting for the final invoice from Sports Express. Also want to acknowledge that the winner of the Pot of Gold, Holly Bright, an employee at the water treatment plant, generously donated a portion of her proceeds back to the city. So thank you, Holly. 2 Parks employees and our HR director, Heather, attended the ODNR archery certification class, and they are now all certified to teach archery, just in case. Be very serious about your HR. Let's see. Jacob from Parks and Rec attended the first cast training through ODNR and can now facilitate first cast for angler programs for events. Yeah, that's good there. Dominic DeSalvo from engineering, Bob Dennison and Judy met with Carl Gideon from the industrial surface for the City Park pre-construction meeting. Weather permitting, we're hoping to get that stuff moving around late April, starting with the skate park. And the spring soccer season has begun.
And the Easter egg hunt is April 19th, correct?
It's always the Saturday before Easter.
Yes,
That's a week from,
19th. It's always fun, just saying.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Maravich. We will move on in the agenda to first readings of ordinance. The first item is resolution number 2025-37.
A resolution in support of the passage of the 5.47 mill levy for the Ravenna School District.
And this is sponsored by the Planning Committee. Ms. West?
As it reads, feel it's important for us to show our support for our Ravenna School District.
If you haven't, I encourage you to attend one of the meetings. I believe there's one more coming up. I don't remember the date, I apologize. But there was a couple of them last week, and I believe you helped facilitate one at the library, Ms. Michael.
Yeah, it was, we had a couple people attend and, got some, well, actually, I think there were 4 residents that attended that had some information that they were unaware of. So they were able to have some questions answered, and there was some positive feedback there. So it was nice.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So move.
Second?
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
There's no emergency clause, so do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
That resolution is passed. We wish the school district the best of luck in getting this levy passed. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2025-41. This is the one I pulled out of the consent agenda.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to modify the Ravenna 7 Movies Theater loan terms to 0% interest owed on the principal amount of $1,200,000 on the sale of said property and declaring an emergency.
This was sponsored by Community and Economic Development. Ms. Wood?
Yes, this is a loan modification from the original revolving loan fund loan for the movie theater. Stated at that time that it needed to be renegotiated after so many years, and here we are. The reason for the requested modification isn't the 0% interest, because that was part of the original. It is that it will be due upon sale or transfer of title of the movie theater to bring it in line with the rest of the RLF loans, because this is the only one that had a payment requirement to it, and it was a percentage of profit was the required payment. And if any of you aren't aware, movie theaters don't profit very much as it is, but also Ravenna 7 is tied to the Barberton Movie Theater. Ravenna 7 is heavy debt loaded, where Barberton is not. So Barberton is pretty much funding our movie theater, so there's not a net profit to make a percentage payment on. So this is a lot of housekeeping to bring it in line with the rest of the economic development loans.
And I believe they had to wait, was it 7 years?
I believe it was 7 years.
Because the state kind of mandated, structured this way. And just for clarification, I pulled it out of the consent agenda because there was a question that I received from a resident. They weren't sure what this was, and I wanted to make sure there was an explanation.
It is a CDBG economic development loan that came from a grant, and it goes into the revolving loan funds.
Right. Yeah. So it's not like we're losing out on any money.
This is not money that we can use for any city purposes. It has to be specifically used for community development programs.
And this is the kind of program or development we want.
Correct, and this was specifically used for the movie theater. It was actually a grant that was written at the time for the movie theater itself. This isn't something that came out of our revolving loan funds, but at the time that it's paid back, it will get paid back into the revolving loan funds, then to be utilized for future community and economic development.
And we knew this going in when we voted on this.
It was
yes.
just the profit component to it that needed to be adjusted. I just wanted to make sure the resident who inquired got a full explanation, and I appreciate your wonderful explanation tonight.
Absolutely.
Are there any other questions or concerns? Okay, then do we have a motion to approve or waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
That ordinance is approved. The next ordinance is ordinance number 2025-44.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Zender Disposal for the spring cleanup program and declaring an emergency.
And this is sponsored by the Committee of the Whole, so I will introduce it. This is our biannual cleanup program. I believe the residents are highly in favor of this, and we're proud and able to provide it this year. We did get a contract, went out to bid, and we do have a contract. I believe you have a copy. Your packets had kind of the approval of the company, and then today I believe you were delivered the actual contract and the particulars. And of course, we've already announced to our residents when their ward will be up for pickup.
So if we vote this down, everyone's going to be really angry.
I think we're all going to be out there collecting rubbish. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. Yeah, you are correct. Other questions?
I'm not familiar with the company. Is it a new one? Is it,
They're out of Suffield, Brimfield area.
right, but they've only been around for a couple of years, it appears.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, okay. And the total price that we're up front we've established is?
$250 a ton.
Okay.
So
And
when they
in
go to the
comparison,
waste
it was $245 a ton 2 years ago.
That's true.
Great price then.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's about all we had. They're the only one that wanted to bid on it.
Good.
Oh, they were the only bidder?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Other questions or concerns about this?
No.
Okay, do we have a motion to waive the 3 separate readings?
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
We have a motion to adopt the emergency clause.
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Kelfi?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. We have no ordinances on second reading, but one on third reading. Ordinance number 2024-132.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to sign an easement to allow Portage Metropolitan Housing Authority, PMHA, to place a generator behind Ravenna City Hall and declaring an emergency.
Okay, this has been one that's been lingering, and we finally now have the contract. This is actually sponsored by the Planning Committee, Ms. West.
And this is to install a generator right behind, they don't have the space for a generator, so they need the easement for this. And it is, all the paperwork's in here. So I know we have been waiting a lot on this. But we should be good to go now, right, Bob?
Yes.
Thanks.
Any questions or concerns about this? Glad to finally get it done. Okay, in that case, we don't have to waive any readings. We've read it a number of times. Do we have a motion to adopt the emergency clause?
So move.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin? Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
And a motion to approve the ordinance.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin? Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
That ordinance stands approved. Moving on the agenda, do we have any old business to discuss this evening? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. In your package, you should have gotten a proclamation by the mayor's office showing its appreciation for our retiring police chief, Jeffrey Wallace. I thought it would be fitting for the council to approve this proclamation, show our gratitude to the retiring chief as well as the mayor. I believe this was already presented to the chief at a reception recently. So if we could get a motion to approve this proclamation?
So moved.
Second.
Get a roll call for this.
Ms. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. West?
Yes.
Mr. Maravich?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Okay, we have approved that proclamation, and we wholeheartedly thank Chief Wallace for all the good work. It's so many meetings he's presented with us, great ideas and reports of the wonderful things that our police department have done. We welcome our interim chief, and we hope you provide, the same type of leadership as Mr. Wallace has. Okay.
Do you know, when are the tests? When do you have to take the test for that? Is that? Okay. All right.
We look forward to that.
Thanks.
Good luck. Okay, we'll move on in the agenda. Next are President of Council remarks. So I mentioned, I believe at the last regular meeting, that I was engaging this idea where we have just sort of a warm-up meeting, let's call it that, just an informal get-together before we start our evening meetings, whichever ones they would be for that night, and just see what issues all of you have and, bring them out, because I've always said we are a very reactionary body. We tend to take action on things that people bring to us. Occasionally, we do some planning and thinking forward. So I just wanted to give everyone an opportunity to do that. So I'm going to call a special meeting for April 21st, which is our Committee of the Whole meeting, at 5:30. Now, I understand if some of you have trouble getting here that early. We're not taking any action. So even if we don't have a quorum, we can still hold the meeting. But do be thinking about ideas to present. One item that is on my mind is a close relationships with to our school systems nearby. Some of us engaged with biomed middle school students a few weeks ago, and found, at least I did, found it a very enlightening experience, and We'd like to discuss what other opportunities that we can, as council, present to our local school systems, to give our local students an opportunity to do some thinking about their future and the future of our city. So I'm just announcing that I'd like to hold that meeting on the 21st, starting at 5:30. I haven't decided yet whether we're broadcast it or record it or anything like that. It's kind of an informal thing, so maybe we'll keep it that way. But again, I hope you will consider bringing some ideas to the table. All right, so we will move on to committee member remarks. We'll start with Ms. Wood. Caught you off
Nothing
guard.
at this time.
Ms. West?
Nothing this evening.
No additional comments, thank you.
Mr. Moskin?
Yes, probably just a couple. I want to thank the street department because I see they're starting to do some work on cleaning out some ditches, and I'm hoping that that continues for quite some time to come. I'm referring to smaller ditches that don't have a lot of depth, that overdue for a while, I'll just say that. And I'm very grateful to see that. And the other thing pertaining to Chief Wallace, I know that he'll be going on to whatever enjoyment and pleasure that he has. The only reason I can say that is from my experience, tomorrow will be 11 years for me. And the only drawback was, it's gone by very fast. And that's telling me it's been quite enjoyable, and my hobbies have, I'll just say, expanded. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Mr. Maravich?
No comments.
Ms. Michael?
I just want to encourage everyone to vote and, attending these levy forums. It is quite scary overall if our levy does not pass, and the future for our community, because it does affect Ravenna. It does, affect our values of our homes. There's a lot of things I think that, with us building with economic development, looking at wanting homeowners to come to Ravenna and decrease our rental properties, it's going to be hard, I think, to get homeowners to want to come to Ravenna if we have schools run by the state, or heaven forbid if our school system dissolves and branches out into other communities. I mean, there's so many things that can happen, which it's scary. And there's a lot of changes that have happened even since I've graduated, the different STEM schools, which I think it's not a bad thing. I enjoyed going to biomed, but as a result, our local school district does suffer financially from that. And I don't really think people realize, how it affects your local school system. Even when you send your child to a private school. When I was younger, I went to a private school, I think, kindergarten through third grade. And but my parents paid for it out of their own pocket. It wasn't paid for by the school system, and things have changed now, and that money follows the child. So, and again, it hurts our school system. So I'm just really encouraging people to look at the actual amount that it would cost you, and imagine if your house would decrease in value, the hard work that you've put into your home, because it is scary. So with that, also want to say again, thank you to Chief Wallace. I enjoyed a lot with chairing public health and safety, and the learning that I was able to learn from him and ways of thinking. I really appreciated his calm approach to things when I would be a little bit erratic. So he would always redirect me, and I really appreciate that. And looking forward to working with Jake. And of course, I enjoy working with our fire chief. So that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Michael. Mr. Harper?
No additional comments.
Unfortunately, the mayor couldn't make it tonight. I will say that we are tentatively planning on holding the State of the City the same night as our Committee of the Whole meeting. We just haven't figured out the exact timing yet. So I'm sure he'd want the public to know that that's coming up this month. we just want to make sure we arrange the meetings for that night appropriately and make sure people know exactly when that report is going to be given. Okay, I think we're done for tonight. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
I'm not going to be here.